allow you to meet us, myself and Omar. My name is Edwa Base. It's quite a mouthful, but you can call me Edu. My LinkedIn is always open to anybody that wants to chat. If you feel I've heard Dora's voice, just drop me a LinkedIn message. Like we've seen so much of Dora and Anita. Can you show us someone else's face? But most of the time, we do get really beautiful review about them. But Wentors has been a passion project for us, and I would say my own part of the story. Wentors has been inception. We're in 2026. We started Wentors in the year 2020. Which feels like we're almost 6 years, 6 years now. But it's been one of those visions of if you're thinking of something and you just take a step and do it. I have a techie background. I work in tech and I met Omar in tech, but I will save you the story because Dora would start giving me one. That's not on our agenda. And Dora is giving me that look of this is not part of our agenda, Dora. Don't worry. I'm the host for today. But anyway, so we both got into tech. And in getting into tech, there were a couple of things that we felt were missing. I think practically for us, Winters has been all about mentorship. For me, it was a case of I got into tech. There were a lot of things that I felt were missing. There were so many things I felt if I had in place, I could have done better. And I think the thought of that is, how can I help the next woman do better? And that's pretty much what the vision of Wentors is. So Wentors is all about helping you through your tech career, be it to assess opportunity, also to return the opportunity. Earlier on when you guys used to see my faces a lot, I think for the people that have been in the community for quite a bit, I used to make an inner joke like nobody really teaches you how to deal with your first email conflict at work. They all teach us the technical things, but they're like those soft skills, those salient things that, are never taught to us. And pretty much we're hoping that we are helping to plug that gap with Wentors. We're a vibrant community. I think till date, we've impacted over 6,000 people. We've had different meetings. We've evolved over time. And we're always very open to your feedback and to your learning. And for today, we have a packed agenda. We have a blend of so many people across different fields, expertise, women, men that are also willing to pour into you. And we hope that you just sit back and enjoy every bit of it. At the end of it, so we want you to stay till the end because Dora has a gift. And Dora has a gift where we're going to be starting up our first internship program, and we're going to be taking 20 women out of this call for internship. This is not Dora said we're picking them out from this call. This is completely Dora. If you don't get it, Dora's LinkedIn is open. But with that, Omar, do you want to say something right
You
into
kind of
it?
said everything all right. We're happy to be here again. Like she mentioned, we have a packed agenda. We have three powerful keynotes from leaders in technology, just to give you their own versions, or rather their own stories in how we can stick to the theme of International Women's Day, which is give to gain, right? What can we give to gain more to get more women in tech, right? So we have three powerful keynotes, two panel discussions. We're going to have a live poll and a special announcement, which Ada already talked about, which is a gift, right? So that's what we have in store today. But before we start, I just want us to, by show of hands, use your reaction emojis. How many of you are here to give something back to the community? Show your hands, show your hands, show of hands, show of hands. Yes. How many of you are here to give back? Yay! Fantastic. And how many of you, thank you so much. Woo! I love that we have such a giving spirit. Fantastic. With so many of us giving, definitely we'll see some impact in the number of women in technology, right? Great stuff. So how many of you are here because you want to learn? It's fine. We have those who are ready to give and those who are ready to learn and to gain, right? So how many of us are here to gain? To gain? Yay! Fantastic. The good news is this is a safe space where you can both give and gain. The Mentors community is here for you. Whatever role you choose to be at for a women in tech, we're here for you. Okay. So let's get straight into the program. Over to you, Edu.
All right, so we just get right at it. So we have our first keynote speaker, Oyed. Uh, Dora, do you want to put me on the next slide?
Thank you.
Put me on Oyed's intro. Yeah, so we have Oye. Oye is an extremely passionate. I think this is an intro for him, but I'll speak about him as a friend. I'm not reading through the slide, but if you know Oye in the industry, Oye is extremely passionate about impact. So wherever you hear impact, look somewhere behind. There will be Oye there. He's a six-time startup founder. He's a social entrepreneur, and he's also a country director for social good, which is a global firm. Oye is extremely strong in unlocking new market relationship. And I think for me, while again, a lot of people would say, why would you have a man as a keynote speaker? What we care about is how many people care about the welfare of women. How are we impacting? Just beyond the gender conversation of, oh, it has to be a woman, but Oye has been at the forefront of making sure that women are well represented across different facets in life. But with that, I wouldn't take it away from his speech because I think we're already running over time. I would hand over to Oye. Oye, thank you for honoring us this afternoon. I know you're a very, very busy man, and right away, you have the stage.
Okay, hello everyone. I mean, we have been battling internet in our dear country as well as power, and it's good to be here. And honestly, it's just going to be a very simple conversation. First, I want to thank Wentors for bringing me up to speak. It's interesting every time people invite me for a meeting that has to do with promoting women's rights and inclusion and all that, just because most times um, what I'm going to speak about is what I've experienced, what we have practicalized. It's not what we are telling you that, or what we are suggesting. It's more of what we as a group of companies have experienced. But before that, I want to thank Edu Abasi. I actually think Dorothy has a really nice voice. I'm not sure why you guys want to take her shine, but Dorothy, have a firm supporter in your voice work in me. Just to set in perspective, right? This is a safe space. So some of the things I'm going to say, I do not expect everybody on the call to pretty much align because it's a keynote speech. It doesn't mean that Edu Abasi has put a gun behind my head and said, oh, you must say this or you must say that. So I want to start by saying I did not know I wasn't inclusive when I was young. I did not know that. I grew up in a house where I had four sisters and they would pamper me as the only son back then. And I did not even know that there was anything wrong, right? I was the kid that would get everything I want from the Nike shoes to the PlayStation to all that, And I would see my sister is doing the house chores, working, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, this is just normal, right? So I want us to start from this point of view, right? That what we are trying to achieve, especially, is that everyone comes on the table, right?
Mm,
Everyone comes on the table, both men,
mm,
women, and everyone else, right? I think it's very important for us to start from that standpoint. Why? Let me give you an example. Um, my sister wanted to study electrical mechanical engineering in a certain university that is in Nigeria. I'll not mention the name because some of these faces on this call, yeah, all look like some of you guys come from that university. And they told her back then, right, that she couldn't study mechanical engineering because she was a woman. I repeat, you can't study, not because you failed JAMB, not because you weren't smart, not because you couldn't do well in physics, chemistry, because she was a woman. There was a lot of back and forth fights here and there, and eventually she was like, oh, she's going to study electrical engineering, right? So today well, she's a very experienced and well-achieved electrical engineer with a PhD, also leading a top tech company in US, one of the top senior professionals in a top tech company in the US. But just that first experience started to open up my mind to what it is women have to go through, right? And after that one experience, I had the opportunity to organize a science conference for women about 8 years ago. And I gathered about 200 women in the room. And this is why it's important to bring everyone on the table. And in that room, there were only five men. I, the sound guy, but we had about 150 women. So we told all of them, speak freely, be as open. I realized about 80 or 70% of those women were upset and angry. And I couldn't understand why, but all I knew is that I was the only man on the high table that day. And whilst they were upset and come on the microphone, they'll be like, that's how you men do. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was the one who paid for this conference. Y'all don't, yeah. So, so the
Mm.
literally, the MC had to pick the mic and go like, so sorry guys, that's actually the country director and the founder of this company. He's the one that gave us this platform to push for policies for women to be included in the tech, in the business space, and that's when many of them calmed down. But it wasn't easy for me as a man to understand. So also I had these experiences as a Mandela Washington Fellow when I went to Davis, California with other Africans. Why am I starting this way? I'm starting this way for you to understand that people have the capacity to learn, to
Mm.
change, and to improve. I repeat, people have the capacity to learn, to change, and to improve. Some of those men might have a messed up past, or they might have a messed up approach to how they have been handling women in their companies. And we have the moral rights to teach them to and hope that they learn, but also hope that they make those changes in their companies and hopefully improve their earnings and everything that happens in their company. Backtrack to when I started my company. Um, People ask me, "Oh, your co-founder is a woman. She's the leader of the group of companies." To set in perspective, we have about 7 companies running concurrently, and about 5 of them are led by women, right? I repeat, 5 of them are led by women. We're not talking about because I was looking to be quote unquote just gender inclusive. They are capable. They are capable. I repeat, they are capable women. They are knowledgeable. They are experienced and they are super smart, right? One of the first thing I would suggest to anyone on this call is never to trade your dreams and your voice. So the first thing we did in our company when we wanted to start aligning to what we wanted to achieve is to take everyone in the company on public speaking. So if we were to unmute the mic across the room right now, everyone on this call, and we were to give, we will not give the 89 guys Edo Abasis, don't stop looking at me like, nah, Jay, you don't understand. I told you 8 minutes. 8 minutes must be 8 minutes. You are not apostle. You are not, it's not a church. This is not the last
It's Dora. It's Dora. I'm sticking to a script.
point. So, so if we're to unmute it, we would say, okay, what is it that what do you find valuable to express to the world, right? What is that one idea, right? One of the few things I found out when I speak to women one-on-one is that the world and the environment around them have told them that those ideas are not valid. I want to lead a tech company. Somebody has told you that, nah, you don't look like the type. I want to be the top UI UX designer. Nah, you should probably just work in a company. I want to own my own franchise. What? Franchise? You've not even spoken about a startup. What are you franchising? You know, it has been somebody that has whispered or has said or has suggested to women that their dreams are not valid. Why do I say this? Right? Most of the companies that we have built has been from a very intentional space of me settling down to first, number one, shut up and to listen. I'm telling you, people don't listen intentionally. When my co-founder found me, I did not know she was my co-founder. Or I mean, I should be the one finding the co-founder, right? So I'm the nah. She came to me, she walked up to me and she said, "Oh, I want to be part of what you are doing." And then I was like, "Huh? Huh? I'm not even sure I know what I'm doing. I do know I want to make a lot of money, but I'm not really I honestly knew. But looking back right now, we've handled tens of millions of dollars. We've done stuff across the world. We've built schools for underserved communities. We've trained, we have about 6,000 people in our tech campus right now. We have built tech startups across Africa. And I'm looking back to that conversation. If I wasn't really listening to her? Could it be that the most critical thing we need to do in tech companies, in institutions, in organizations is to first listen? Whether it's to listen to the person coming with a suggestion of what should be changed in the company to increase productivity and revenue, or we are listening to somebody else that has another point that quote and unquote might not align with ours. The first point is that we need to listen, right? So, what I'll say in conclusion, how many minutes do I have so that I'm sure I stick? How many minutes, Edu, do I have?
You're on time, Dora. You're
One
on.
more minute, right? So I'll just leave you five basic things that we always stick to, and I can share the link in my book that I just released. I constantly say to people, never let anyone take you out of the purpose that you have set for yourself. If that's your dream, your aspiration, then really do believe it's valid. And they are just leadership principles. One, you must always model the way. Because you are treated badly doesn't mean you should treat the next woman badly. So you must always model the way. This number two things for leaders is that you must inspire a shared vision. Many of the companies I own, these ladies didn't stay with me for 8 years because they loved my beards or my ugly face. It's because they have equity in those businesses. Don't think it's for free. They are here because yes, they love the culture, yes, they love the principles, but the vision is big enough to take care of their own vision also. So there's a vision, there are smaller visions in the big visions. Then the third thing is to challenge the process. What makes you feel a woman cannot lead? What makes you feel like a woman's voice should not be heard in different meetings? What makes you feel that a woman cannot go against what you believe or what you think is right as the quote unquote founder? And you're like, "Ugh." But yeah, if it makes sense, if it makes profit, why should I be egoistic? Right? Then the next thing is you need to enable others to act. Providing places for their kids to come in the office, it's an investment. Giving them the opportunity to stay at home and work virtually when they are heavy. I didn't know so much when I was young about periods. I just knew that there was a time in my sisters, in the month for my sisters, that they're just frowning. And I'm like, why are you frowning today? Is it one of those days that your daddy and you are having a feast? It was when I grew and as a teenager that they started to explain to me that this thing, oh yeah. It's not what you think, then. But now, as I grow, now I see meals and people say, "Oh, I'm having a heavy PMS," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, stay at home. Tell them to stay at home," and all that. Now I can understand. Now I understand why you have to provide a play area for a lady that is just returning to work with her child, or give leaves and all that. Now I understand. So you have to encourage the heart, and I think I should stop here because of time. But everything else you can find in my book. Thank you so much, Edu. Thank you so much, Wentors, for inviting me. If you don't remember anything, just remember that your dreams are really valid and find the environment to nurture those dreams and bring it to pass. Thank you so much, ladies, and have fun. I wanted to play the Beyonce song, Girls, but no, Edu said no. So
Thank you. Thank you. Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think for everybody you can hear from Oye. Like really, so if you listen to his story of how he's been intentional to learn about how to be inclusive with women, we wish that's where the world should be.
Mm.
But that's why we're all here. We're all here to be advocates so that we can get out when we finish from Winters in the different places that we find ourselves. We continue to advocate for what the right things are. Thank you so much, Oye. Truly. And we were going to drop the link for the book that has been released. Actually, we probably would also add that to our gifting baskets today. Dora is in charge. You guys, if you don't get it, it's not me. I'm just but with that, I'll hand over to Omar. We have a beautiful panel set up, and I'll allow Omar to do us the honors of introducing who our panelists are. Thank you, Oye. Thank you once again. Omar, over to you.
Right. Thank you, Edu. Thank you, Oye. Thank you for setting up the pace, the energy for this events, wonderful events. And let's just get straight to the women who are actually doing it, right? We have a panel session with these three beautiful women, and the theme of this panel session is give opportunities and gain leaders. I'm especially happy about Katharina. Katharina started with us as a Wentee, and look at her now. She's a commercial master data manager, a specialist in data governance and master data management. As a past Wentee ambassador for Wentors, Katrina has evolved into the role of a Wentor. What that means is that she was a mentee and now she's a mentor. And she dedicates her time in assisting women in tech through data science. Katharina is a creative and an optimist and has an analytical mindset, and we're more than happy to have you here. Thank you so much, Katharina. It's nice to see you again.
Yeah, wait.
Great. And then we have, okay, thanks. Go ahead, Katrina. No, say hi, say hi.
No, hi. I'm very happy to be here, and as you said, I've also been part of Wentors since 21, and it's just great to go from mentee finding a job to becoming a Wentor. So very happy.
Fantastic. Thank you. Fatima Oni is a seasoned fintech lawyer and senior counsel at a leading global payments and financial technology company. With over 13 years of cross-jurisdictional experience, she advises on open finance, product innovation, regulatory engagement, and complex technology transactions, bringing a strategic and commercially grounded perspective to the evolving digital financial ecosystem. Fatima, it's a pleasure to have you here. Can you unmute yourself and
Thank
say
you for
hi?
having me.
Fantastic,
It's
Fatima.
lovely to be here.
And then we have Sheun Babajide Durushola. She is also been a part of our community for a while. She's been a wonderful mentor, and she's a strategic growth leader and AI evangelist with 18 plus years of experience. She's driven growth in Africa, EMEA, and the UK, achieving record-breaking scale with efficient lean growth models. Through Sheun Bidi's Corner, which is a podcast, her page, she empowers young pros to thrive using faith, AI, and productivity frameworks. You're welcome, Sheun. It's nice to see you here again.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So let's get straight into it, right? So I'm going to start with you, Kat. Who gave you your first opportunity? And what do you think made them take a chance on you?
Actually still at my first job, so 5 years later. Actually, I think they gave me the opportunity because I really stressed the fact in the interview that I'm willing to learn, and I still attribute that to coming from a university. That's the skill you have. University, you learn all the time, and then you're tested on what you've learned, and you have to grow. You have to figure out how best to learn, and then after that interview, that's just the feeling that stuck with me. Where I can really tell that that came across. I mean, obviously I had a relevant-ish background, but I didn't have the skills needed for that job, but I was willing to learn them, and basically like a blank space to write on with the company what they wanted me to learn and do. So that's definitely what I attribute to getting my first opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Katrina. Fatima, same question. Who gave you your real opportunity, especially for you coming as a lawyer, right? I'm sure you never envisioned yourself being a techie lawyer. So who gave you that your first chance, and why do you think they gave it to you?
In the context of working within tech, I would say my first real opportunity came from my manager then, who was female as well. And that was when I transitioned into tech. So my first role as a legal counsel within the fintech. And what did she do? She promoted me to the same position she was, and this was within 6 months of my joining that organization. And what stood out for me was that she wasn't just looking at my experience on paper, but also my potential and how I approach challenges. So I think, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Cool.
Please go ahead.
Yes, I think what made her take a chance on me was my willingness to stand up beyond my defined role, take ownership and also consistently deliver even in unfamiliar situations. So I made a point to be proactive, ask questions, and show up when I was ready to learn and adapt quickly. So she saw that and she made a decision to promote me to the same position she was. I was a counsel then. Then she promoted me to senior counsel, which was the same position she was. A decision then had a huge impact on my career and also reinforced how important it is for leaders to, I would say, recognize potential and actively create opportunity for others.
Fantastic.
And
Thank you.
something that I try to carry forward by supporting and advocating for others in the same way.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Fatima. Shaun, I'm sure yours story is going to be similarly great. So tell us.
Definitely. I'll probably just take you like maybe a couple of many years back, going far back as 2009. And that was I think that was my last job in the UK, and that was at Simply Health. And of course it was a woman as well. And I joined the team as a reconciliation assistant support, where we just had to make sure the books were tallied and at the time. And joined the team. I was a graduate, so that was like basically my first job out of uni. I've obviously worked previously before uni then. Joined the team, and within 6 months, she had. I mean, I was the top, the highest person. I mean, the highest reconciliation person in our team. But what I think that she saw that definitely gave her the chance to started including me into interviews, started putting me in front of leadership was I was curious. So I was very curious at how that department connected to the other segments of the business and how important was my role. I was also value driven as well. Like I wanted to do more. I was interested in what we were doing. So I wasn't one of those like, oh, I just come and do what I have to do and then go. I was very curious. So I was asking questions. And then the questions obviously prompted her to be like, oh, okay, like why are you asking these questions? Why are you asking that? And she allowed me to ask those questions. She didn't make it a, oh, you can't speak, just do what you have to do and keep it moving. So I'm always heavily, thankful to her. She speaks about you date, so which is really good. So yeah, that was it. Louis' fault.
Oh, that's so nice. So I hope everyone is hearing what I'm hearing. There is a theme across everyone's answers. Ability to learn, willingness to learn, a curious mindset. That's exactly what you need, guys. I mean, if it's the only thing you take from this event is that you need to be curious. You have to be willing to learn new things. Open your mind to learn new ways to make money, to bring more value to your company, and eventually it will help you in other areas of your life, right? So thank you so much. Those are wonderful stories. I want us to quickly go into the theme. Somebody has Fatima, you want to say something?
All right, I was just gonna quickly provide a little context. So I've known Shaun in a different lifestyle. And seeing her on this panel, I've not even had any discussions about this panel with her, and I can definitely attest to everything she said about being curious. This was, I don't know, Shaun, this was like many years ago, maybe like 20 years or more. And I've met her in not professional, but I can attest to the fact that she was curious and everything she said today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Oh, that's good to know. So another thing is to be consistent, right? Be consistent in your curiosity. Don't just, oh, I'm going to be curious today. No. The whole point of growth, you need to be always curious. You need to be always willing to learn new things because the world is changing, evolving rapidly. And the only way we can keep up is if we keep opening up ourselves for new things, to new learnings. So yes, thank you so much, Fatima, for that. So I want to jump quickly into the theme. So we all know the theme this year is Give to Gain. And I find it a very interesting theme because I do believe it's actually, shall I say, paramount or center stony to our progress as women in technology. And I'll give my reasons before I hand it over to the panel, right? We can only grow if we help each other up, right? I know it sounds corny. I know it sounds, things like you hear about in the movies, but it is the reality, right? If we don't keep giving back to women, we will not gain ground in our diversity numbers, in our ability to build the future. Because truth be told, the future is technology, and we need more women to be able to speak, to be able to bring in their positions, their opinions in whatever we're building for the future. And the only way we can get more women is if more women give back to women. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Fatima. How do you think this give to gain theme is pivotal to our success as women in technology?
Very pivotal, very relevant. And I would also link it back to the context I gave around the person that gave me my first real opportunity, which was my manager back then. I see the Give to Gain ethos as a powerful driver for shaping the future of women in fintech, in tech, everywhere, because it also encourages a culture of intentional support, mentorship, and access. If, for example, my manager at that time didn't give me that opportunity, I would probably have seen leadership in a different way. But also, she gave to gain because she promoted myself to the same level that she was. Eventually, she got moved up into into a higher position. And I would say for many women, one of the biggest barriers in the industry, in the tech industry, isn't just capability. It is the opportunity. It is opportunity and also visibility. So give to gain shifts the mindset from competition to collaboration, where those who have access, for example, that my manager, experience or influence will actively create pathways for others. So I would say ultimately, the more we give, whether it's time, access, opportunity, or the more we build stronger, more inclusive ecosystem, that's what drives the long-term meaningful gain for everyone within the tech industry.
Thank you. Very well said, Fatima. Very well said. Kat, I have a question for you. I know you already mentor women in tech as a data specialist, but I guess my question is, how does your own way of giving improve your own mastery in your field? What do you gain from giving?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think I just remember back in school when I was teaching my friends stuff they didn't understand or they were doing it for me. You also get a better understanding, right? So now just having worked with my two mentees for just a few weeks, they are so passionate. They have projects they have in mind and they want to do great things, and that's so inspiring. And you learn a lot about yourself when you give expertise or when you give them some support or some advice. You also understand what is actually needed, because I think back the advice I got when I was a Wentee. I didn't know how much I needed that. So I learned again that, just giving some friendly advice or, really listening and talking and having, real conversations with people who are just starting out and also showing them I'm human too. It wasn't a straight line, and I don't think I'm a genius, and I don't think, that, other people would have maybe also fit the role, but it's just that you can do it. And, you have to have confidence, and you have sometimes people need to tell you, or it helps a lot when someone else tells you. So yeah, I think you learn a lot about, the new generations and, what is still missing from conversations. What are the insecurities that are around you and that you yourself have, and then making sure to be intentional on helping that, that going away, that women don't have those insecurities anymore. So yeah, I think you learn a lot about yourself, about tech, about your own environment, and about what needs to be done in the tech industry.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Katrina. Sheun, over to you. Well, I'm very familiar with the Sheun BD's Corner. So I know that's what you do. You're constantly giving back. So if you could talk us through why you went into Sheun BD's Corner, it pretty much aligns to this theme, right? So if you just talk us through that, maybe we can get more people to join from this community.
Oh, okay, sure. I think the first thing anyway is it has to come from a place of service. So you have to serve. So I think that's where that's where Shombi's Corner, actually, came from. It has to be from a place of service. I think Oye also mentioned something earlier, so I want to track that back. And that was because you went through a bad experience doesn't necessarily mean somebody else too has to do the same or go through the same. Your bad experience should almost be a lesson for what you need to do better, not what you have to replay and pay back. And in my own opinion, I think that's what even causes toxic environment, because a lot of people have come into a new workplace or a new environment with so much pain, so much bitterness that they haven't dealt with. So they've come into this new place and then they've just, allowed it to evaporate, and then all of a sudden the culture is mixed up. Now, how do I give back? It's from a place of service. So whether in my team, when I'm managing a team of 8 or a team of 13, I always mix my deliverables and my coaching and mentorship together. So while I would still knock you down for not meeting a particular deliverable, I will still tell you the importance of why you should still have make that that timeline, because at the end of the day, it's not just about work, it's also about your place of service. So even if you leave my team or you go somewhere else, you're still going to be going with that attitude. So how am I able to make sure that anybody that I work with closely is still transformed and making sure that they're better? So I always come from a place of service. Now, why was Shionbi this corner ever created? Because I also realized that not a lot of faith people are actually confident, let me put it that way, to share their working experience, because again, you have faith and then you also have work. We've lived this life so much that it's almost like it's separated, so you don't almost bring those your faith value into work, and there should be a marriage between those two. We should be able to connect those values. We should be able to see how much of excellence you are at work. We should be able to see of how much commitment you are giving into work. We should be able to see that you're not bothered. Not that you should work in a place of abuse, please. That's not what I'm saying. But you should almost understand that where you are currently, as bad as it is, there must be one or two things that you're going to take away. Either how not to be a boss, okay, or how to actually be a boss. You're going to be walking away with a number of things. So it's very important that wherever you are, and that's why I created that corner, wherever you are at whatever phase of your career, whatever industry, whether you're confused, you're not sure yet, there is still something you're going to learn, and your experience should be able to do something for you. So yeah, that's where I come from.
Thank you so much, Shil. So real talk, woman to woman. What real barriers still exist for women in tech that still there? Shil still with us? Yes, she is.
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Yeah.
I don't think there are barriers, and then please allow me. I mean, you can throw stones at me. It's okay. I don't think there are barriers. I think there are seasons. Women need to come to realization that we're not the same as guys, especially, as men. Let me put it that way. Especially if you're going to go through the phase of, growing up, getting married, having babies, and all of that. We have different phases and we have different seasons. Your season of when you're having, so allow me to use my own example as well. So the time that I had when I was a single girl, not engaged, no kids, it's not the same time like what I have now. To 2 children, married, and so much other domestic duties as well. So that season of when I was alone and single, I had so much time. If you are in that season, I really would advise you to milk it. So that's not a barrier. That is like you have enough time to almost stay up late, do enough programs, join enough community, network. You heard Fatima. I've known Fatima for over 20 years, so she's right? And I've also known Uma, as well as a number of people on this call, for years. So it's your time to actually network, because you're all going to be growing together. So you have to understand the phase of life that you're at. You cannot be in my opinion, again, you cannot be in the phase of life where you have a toddler of 3 months and you are just maybe newly married, you've just relocated to a different country, you're trying to even understand the space of where you are. And then you now want to do 3 or 7 certification. You are going to burn out. You are going to be overwhelmed. There are a lot of things that are going to be happening. Some people take maternity leave, go back to work, and they can't find their space anymore. They don't even know what role they're supposed to be doing. That is another season. That is another phase. So I don't think it's a barrier, because you are going to grow out of that phase. So it's very important that as a woman, because a guy is not going on maternity leave. A guy is not going anywhere. Like, I don't know, let me come back to West Africa. I mean, that's the only relative thing that I can say. I think it even works for the global as well. Have you ever noticed, can you relate to a woman who is about to get married next year is already stressed by now? Like, you can tell on her countenance. You can tell on behavior. A guy who's getting married on Saturday You won't even know. He's still traveling. He hasn't even said it in the office. There are a lot of guys that I've worked with that I did not even know they had a family of 6. I didn't even know. But a woman, so it's not a barrier. I think it's just like you being honest with yourself and understanding your season and making the best of that season. Like, okay, this is what I need to do. How am I going to do it? Set yourself realistic goals. So you're not overwhelmed. You're not feeling like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I need to do more. What season are you at currently? And how can you make the best of it? That is what I think. And then also, just to add, again, thanks to AI, thanks to the internet, thanks to technology innovation and everything. Look, you can be cooking and you can put on AirPods or your earphones and be watching or listening to a vlog on the latest AI tool or the latest technology or how to do your work faster, how to learn soft skills while you're washing the dishes, while you're changing diaper, while you are on, en route. Give the gossip blog a break. Give the what's it called, the news a break. Like there's nothing you can do about that, but you can actually do something about your life. So how are you actually investing time in those areas that you need help in or that you need to grow as well? So in my own opinion, I don't really see it as a barrier. I just see it as, okay, this is where we are now. Okay, what do I need to change? What routine do I need to fix around? And how can I make the best of it? And then once you're out of that season, the next season again, you switch your routine and you switch your schedule. That is what I think, in my own opinion.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. Cheryl has like wrapped it all up for us. Thank you so much. It's time for Q&A. I'm sure some of you have questions for our panelists. So if you have questions, please write it down in the chat window, and I'll pick 2 random people. So we can only have 2 random people at the time that we have. Before we move on to the next bit of the program, right? So if you have questions for Fatima, Katerina, or Cheryl, please type it down.
There's a question on the chat, Oma.
Hmm?
There's a question on the chat already
Well, I've not seen it.
from Marianne.
From Marianne.
Marianne, sorry, not Marianne.
Okay, Marianne. Okay, there's a widespread belief that women tend to make decisions based on emotion, while men rely more on logic. What's your perspective on this idea? Let me ask Fatima, what do you think?
Sorry, I was already muted. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Marianne says there's a widespread belief that women tend to make decisions based on emotion, while men rely more on logic. So she's asking for your perspective. I have my perspective, but I would like to hear yours.
Do you really want my perspective on this? My perspective would be, it depends on the woman you're talking to and depends on the man you're talking to. It depends on how you've programmed your mind as a woman, and how your thought process works as a woman. I'll say generally, there is that perspective, right? But you as a woman in the workspace, do you want to be labeled as the employee that processes their actions based on emotions, or do you want to be labeled as the employee that processes that processes based on logic? So the perspective would depend on who you're talking to and how the person has approached life, or how they are beginning to think, or how their past experiences has shaped them. Yes, the way we women think, and the way we operate sometimes can be labeled as that. But then you owe it to yourself to then start to shift that perspective and how you want to be seen, how you want to deliver, how you want your life experience to be shaped. We can focus very much on what everyone thinks in terms of, yes, men think logically and women think with emotions. But I would put it back to you, the audience or the person that asked the questions. How do you want to be perceived? Do you want to be perceived as stereotypically basing your decisions based on emotions or based on logic?
Thank you so much. I have my perspective. I think there's a place for emotional intelligence on the situation in question, right? So there's no cookie cutter, one size fits all answer for this. It depends on what we're deliberating on, who we're deliberating on, and the context, right? Yes, generally women are more emotional beings, However, but there is a place for emotional intelligence based on the case, based on the context, right? So women might do better, but I wouldn't rule out any man on emotional intelligence either. So it's all about everyone's ability to hone their emotional intelligence skills, because it's actually quite necessary in the corporate world, in any working environment, right? It helps you understand the people involved. It also helps you assess the situation better. So that's my response and that's my perspective. So do we have any other question? And then before I move to the next session, okay, we have one from Nicole, and that'll be the last one. Okay. How did you move from novice to intermediate to expert? Who is Nicole asking? Personally, when I'm working on a project guided with AI, I feel confident, but when I do it alone, I don't know where to start from, even though I know the concepts. Nicole, who do you want us to ask this question? How did you move from novice to intermediate to expert? Nicole, if you can unmute yourself quickly. Nicole Kutzwa. Okay, Catherine. Katharina.
Yes, okay. That is a very good question. To be honest with you, I mean, I said this is my first job and I've been there 5 years and I've been very happy, which is why I'm still there. And it's a very gradual process because in the beginning, of course, I had my doubts if I was ready for it and if I was going to be good at it. But as we said before, like the willingness to learn, curiosity, and what helped me a lot was asking a lot of questions and not labeling any question I have as dumb. Like I was starting out. So any question is a question worth asking. If you have that question, ask it. If somebody makes you feel like the question is dumb, find another person to ask those questions who will be good to you and who will actually help you. Like the beginning of, I asked so many questions and that made me learn so fast. And then it just became a very gradual process, just curious mind, working with the tools and, asking questions. And I mean, obviously, if you're not in a workplace, then, there's so many forums out there for AI, and programmers are amazing people. Like if you Google something, a programmer has explained in detail how to do it. Like the community of online of them are answering any kind of question is insane. Like, so just engage with those communities. If you want to learn a specific tool, there will be websites where you can engage with that community and just ask questions. And there are no dumb questions when you start out. And then with practice, gradually you become an expert if you really focus on it and are curious and want to figure out how it works. At least that's how it was for me at work, and that helped me. And
Right.
at some point you realize you're good at it.
Hello, everyone still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you, Omar. Omar, we can hear you. Okay. It seems Omar is frozen. Thank you so much, Katharina. Well, thank you to our amazing panelists. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Fatima. It's been beautiful. Sean, thank you so much, Nugget, Fatima. Something Sean said that really resonated, and 2 days ago, someone asked me a question. I think I was saying, "Oh, why are you not showing up here?" And I said, "No, it's just not that season in my life right now. There are two children. There's a lot to do." So I think for women, it's important that by the time we understand the season we're in, and when you are in that season, please have rest in that season. Sometimes I call the social media shiny objects. I think every now and then you carry your phone and you look at the shiny objects, like, oh, this person is here, she's doing this. You don't know her season. You don't know what season she's in. Your season is different from us. But I think it's been like really beautiful nuggets from the team. Fatima, thank you so much. If there's anything that I would want us to pick out, one of the things that Fatima said that really resonated with me is, and it ties into the fabrics of who we are as Wentors. When you find that opportunity, please pay it forwards to that woman. So think about her manager a few years ago. If he never recognized that there was a talent in her, and we probably wouldn't be having a Fatima giving back to us right now, right? And so it is very, very important that even as we build and as we grow, that as we are progressing, we are absolutely paying it to the next, to the next generation. But I think it's been beautiful. Katrina, you always have our heart. It's beautiful. Katrina is a clear example of a Wentors story. She started with us as a Wenty, just listening in, and today she is pouring it all in. But thank you so much. We're right behind time. But it's been a beautiful conversation. I've seen still loads of questions on the chat. We'll try to respond to them. But thank you to our amazing, amazing panelists. We do appreciate every one of you. But we'll get right into the next event for today. We have our keynote speaker already. I can already see him being pinged. Thank you for joining us, Muta. And to everyone that cares to hear, currently our International Women's Day program is sponsored by Tenable. And Muta is the diversity and inclusion expert from Tenable, right? Again, when you see a company that understands what it means to have an inclusive environment, even have a leader that is a diversity and inclusion expert, it goes on to say that the company is intentional. And we're very, very, very glad to have been sponsored by them this year. You cannot imagine the amount of impact of what. So currently we have loads of people on a We Discover Her, We Accelerate Her program that are ongoing. We're currently about giving out 200 data camp scholarship. We have an internship opportunity that will be rolling out. I mean, all of this is not possible if we don't have sponsors. So we're extremely glad to have you. Muta is a diversity and inclusion expert at Tenable US. He builds framework for diversity, talent, and equitable workplace in tech and cybersecurity. He leads the DEI program focusing on talent development and employee engagement. He's a sought-after voice on flexible work policy and retention, and we are super glad to have him in our midst. Thank you, Muta. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction, Edu. So good afternoon, everyone. Just want to say that I'm extremely honored to be here at the Wentors International Women's Day 2026 program. And I know International Women's Day was a few weeks ago, but I'll say it again. Happy International Women's Day, everyone. And then here in the US, the whole month of March is Women's History Month. And I just want to say your presence here today isn't just a personal milestone, but it's really a vital part of the evolution of industries, especially the tech industry, where women have been traditionally underrepresented. So it is great seeing, women who are interested in different avenues, different areas, different industries that you all have been traditionally underrepresented in. This year's theme, Give to Gain, really resonated deeply with myself as well as Tenable. Often people view kind of giving as a one-way street, look at it as, sacrificing your time or resources. But in our industry here at Tenable and within the tech industry as a whole, we know that true progress is really reciprocal. So when we invest in women, we aren't just doing what's right, but we're really also building a sharper, more resilient, and more innovative organization and industry in order to have a competitive advantage. So I'm super excited to be here with you all and speak with you all today. So one of the questions you may have is, why did Tenable choose to support this specific program? And as Edu alluded to, the answer really lies within our core mission. At Tenable, we focus on helping organizations understand and reduce their cyber risks and their cyber exposure. And in a world of security, diversity is a strong necessity. If everyone in the room thinks the same way, we really have open blind spots and we can't address unique, kind of new, innovative cyber exposures and things of that nature. I've been in rooms where they have been kind of completely male only, and I can say that we don't get much progress done in rooms like that. So it's really great to have women in the industry and more representation at important meetings, at important tables, so that we're able to challenge and kind of understand the unique challenges that are happening within our industry. Supporting women in tech also aligns perfectly with our values of innovation, inclusion, and integrity. So we just don't want to fill seats. We want to kind of fuel our exposure management platform with future voices that have been historically underrepresented. And we really support Wentors because we believe that mentorship is the bridge between raw potential and industry shaping impact. I know you've probably heard from, and I had a chance to kind of hear from the panel earlier, and it really is important, kind of the importance of mentorship and the importance of establishing connections and establishing communities so that you do have opportunities that, traditionally in the past, women did not have opportunities for. One other thing I would like to get is kind of personal for a moment. Kind of as a male ally in this space, I've had to learn what give to gain really looks like in practice. So early in my career, I thought being an ally was simply about just allowing space for women in certain spaces, but I was wrong. True allyship is really about active contribution. It's about sponsoring women for high visibility projects, challenging biased hiring practices, and really, most importantly, listening to what women want and what women need in the workforce. So here at Tenable, we kind of instituted a number of things in addition to our scholarship giving, we also have roundtable discussions for women employees so that they can share more about what's working in the organization, what's not working, and what needs to be changed. We're also taking a deeper look into our hiring and recruiting practices as well to ensure that they're fair and that they're equitable across the board, especially for women. One other great thing, or two other great things that we're actually doing is one, we're ensuring that there is a woman interviewer within all of our interviews in the organization. The second thing that we've done is we have become an organization that has been certified, a certified equal pay organization, which ensures that we're paying women equally to their male counterparts within the workforce as well. And kind of one of the things that I've gained in terms of doing this work is that by mentoring women who are career swapping into tech or who are gaining a fresh perspectives into tech, it kind of gives me a sense of purpose as well. When I gave my time to become a mentor, I really gained a better version of my own organization and kind of a better vision of, what it takes to become a diverse, inclusive organization, specifically within the tech sphere. So what is the impact that we hope to see? So we hope to see kind of folks who left the organization or left the tech industry or just are just joining the tech industry to rejoin. We really are focused on Intenable, kind of our own goal is to have at least 40 to 50% of gender representation in our roles and within our organization so that we understand this idea of equity and creating opportunities for women. Specifically, we're also focused on creating leadership opportunities for women, specifically at our director and above level. We're super excited that at our C-suite or our executive level, there is a great balance of women leaders. So, for example, our chief marketing officer, our chief information officer, our chief human resource officer, and our chief legal officer are all women. So that kind of puts us at the halfway 50% mark of women leaders at the C-suite or executive level. Tenable is also making the following specific commitments in 2026. So first, our recruitment initiative, we're expanding our dedicated pathways for women who are re-entering the workforce after a career break. We are also gaining re-entry for women who are specifically pivoting outside, who were previously working outside of tech and are looking to enter into the tech space as well. The second thing that we're focusing on, which I am extremely passionate about, is mentorship equity. We are committing a number of our senior leadership hours to perform and be mentors for women who are looking to break into tech or to break into the cybersecurity workforce. And then the last thing that we're doing is from a global inclusion perspective, we're holding ourselves accountable to transparent diversity hiring targets, ensuring that women aren't just entering the door, but they're being promoted into leadership roles at the same rate as their male counterparts as well. So, in closing, I really want to speak directly to the women here today. The give to gain cycle starts with us. As we gain new skills and roles and remember to reach back, we must remember to reach back and pull the next woman up. So our journey at Wentors and your journey here at Wentors is really the blueprint for someone else's success tomorrow. I was looking at and listening to the panel discussion previously, and it was really encouraging to see someone who was previously a Wentors mentee actually take on that mentor space. And that's exactly what it's all about. It's about giving back. And kind of once you reach the level of leadership, reaching back to pull other women up as well. And at Tenable, we're super proud to be a partner to Wentors. to be a sponsor, and also to be an ally. We aren't just investing into women in tech, but we're also investing into women in general. So even if you aren't necessarily interested into tech, we are also happy to kind of bridge those connections to help you understand and identify some things that you may be interested in as well. So I just want to say kind of thank you to everyone. Thank you for your time, your courage, and your contribution. We're super excited about the partnership with Wentors. We're super excited about making 2026 the year where Give to Game becomes the standard for every tech giant across the globe. And Tenable hopes that, other organizations will follow our lead and continue to do the things that we're doing as well. So again, thank you all so much. And if you all need anything from me, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to connect.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mutar. Thank you. It's so beautiful to hear the things that Tenable is putting into place, the equal pay, the amount of women that are getting into C-level position. Wow. And I think we're getting to a point where the world is getting to be a better place for women. And we need to, sometimes acknowledge what we've seen, the changes that have happened. And so my I would just say thank you to you guys for sponsoring us. Thank you for you guys for also setting the pace too in the cybersecurity world and just bringing women in that journey. I think there was one question. I know we're running out of time, but Muta, if you're still with us, someone had a question for you here. It says, as a DEI professional, what advice would you give to a woman navigating the tech industry as a neurodivergent individual? I'd love to hear your perspective on how to advocate for myself and what support I should be looking for generally.
Awesome. I think that's a really great question. And the one piece of advice that I have is be very clear about what you're looking for and what you want, especially kind of with neurodiversity as well. A lot of organizations are beginning to understand that individuals process information differently, they learn differently. So I think just kind of being as a professional navigating the tech industry, one, be very clear about what you're looking for and what you want and the support that you need as well. And then the second piece of advice that I have is specifically find a organization who values your unique approach as well. And it's okay if an organization is not the right fit for you and you were able to kind of comfortably walk away from that. I think the tech industry is growing rapidly, so there's so many opportunities and so many great organizations out there that are really looking for women and individuals who learn differently, who process information differently, and who are neurodivergent as well. So just really finding the right fit for you and not being afraid. And I think really having the courage to say, this is what I want. These are some of the non-negotiables that I want. And then walking away if that doesn't serve you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think that is all, and we are out of time. So, wouldn't any other questions, we'll respond on the chat. But thank you so much, Mutar. Thank you for gracing us today. And thank you to Tenable for the sponsorship. I would just hand it back to Dora. Dora, you want to just take it away with the second panel session?
Absolutely. I'm going to go over and share my screen. Thank you so much, Muta. Again, I think Edu has, given in more than enough. Thank you. Now we have our final panel session for today. We're having the two lovely, lovely women, and I'm so excited because I'm going to be handling this women. We have the beautiful, give me a moment. Let me see if I could move that. All right. All right, so we have the beautiful Omalara Osiemi. Omalara Osiemi is a product and growth consultant with 15 plus years of experience and experience in telecom, fintech, energy, and digital services. She's led product management and growth initiatives at MTN Nigeria and now holds or now helps startups scale. Omolara is also a dedicated mentor at Wentors, very excited about that, and supporting women in tech through Wentors program. Do we have Omolara here? I know I saw her in the participant group, and I would just like to, great,
Yes,
fantastic. Thank you so
I'm
much,
here.
ma'am, for being here. It's such an honor.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having
Thank
me.
you for your support. It goes a long way. We do
Thank
have
you.
Onyinye Madubuko, who is a Microsoft MVP and transformation expert guiding businesses um, through digital transformation. She boosts productivity and security with Microsoft 365 Tech. She's very passionate about volunteering. I can tell that for a fact. She's also a mentor at Wentors, but she says here that she mentors women and girls in STEM, promoting growth and empowering them to succeed. Oye, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to be handling this panel session. It's called the Give Resources, Gain Growth. And I'm going to jump right into the first question, which is, what resources did you desperately need, but you actually struggled terribly to access? And who finally gave you that access? And fill us in into what changed over time. Oye, this would be for you.
Okay, so thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm honored to be here to share my experience as well. So, one of the resources that I really lacked and I eventually got was having a coach. And this stems back from the secondary school days, looking for what the career path I need to go. But I was able to get that from my tutors, from my lecturers, and from my manager during my internship. So, growing up, I know I love to fix things, but I didn't know what exactly I needed to do. And then in school, we had the guidance and counselor who was able to help students on the subject areas that they were good. I know for one that I didn't like chemistry, so anything that has to do with chemistry wasn't for me. So eventually, I was able to navigate to engineering, right, as an electrical and electronics engineering. But even at that, I still had to struggle on the career path, but with my coaches from lecturers who were able to guide through, I was able to navigate on the career path. And what it did for me was it gave me a better perspective. I had a mindset shift because when I had the meeting with them in the different phases and I was able to navigate that part, it made me not to waste much time. So that would be the resources I was able to get and how I navigated through.
Fantastic. And I'm going to throw the same question at Mrs. Omolara. Was this the same for you? Was it a different experience? Please fill us in.
Yeah. Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm glad to be here yet again. Yeah, for me, it was a slightly different experience because when I started out in tech, I just transitioned into product management. I was in finance, and it was pretty new to me. So you can imagine one of the reasons why I got the opportunity in the first place was through a fellow woman, one of my colleagues then, she had told me that, oh, there's an opportunity in marketing, and that she felt that because of the role that I was at that time, that I was the only one that was qualified for it. So, of course, it started with a woman speaking up for me. Well, she didn't actually. What she actually did was she showed me the opportunity. I wouldn't have given it too much of a thought at that time, but because of her, and enough, there were actually two. There was a female and a male. The two of them called me aside and said, "Oh, there's this role. Have you checked it out?" Because it was an internal position. So fast forward to me looking at it, and then of course I got the role at the time. So I just started out my role as a product manager. But one of the things that I needed was access. I had access prior to then, but I needed access to certain rooms. I needed access to information and I needed access to people. Because as you know, when you're in product management or in tech, in general, you actually do need access. What I mean by rooms is you have external and internal stakeholders, and not all of them are at the right level, at the same level. So I needed to be in rooms to understand how decisions were being made. What were the things that they were saying that was going to influence what I was working on? And one of the ways I got it, of course, was through my general manager at the time. She did not look at me as someone that was a product specialist that had just joined a team. We're talking about if you understand how levels are in organizations. She was like, in some organizations, they call her a director. And then this was someone that was like on level two, So she actually did not look at me that way. She felt that, oh, she has something to offer. So she actually gave me access to rooms. Any room that I needed access to, any team, any information that I needed. All she needed from me was to ask and to let her know that, oh, I need, she needed was to know, please, can you hear me? I just want to be sure that, yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, that I needed access to the room. And then she also gave me access to people. If I needed a particular sign off on a particular document, because we had, there was this, I won't call it bureaucracy. Documents needed to be signed for you to be able to go ahead with the product that you're working on. And usually it's always a bottleneck, when it comes to certain individuals signing. All I needed to do was to tell her that this is where, the challenge is, or where the blockage is, and she will just give me access. So for me, access was something that was important. I needed to be able to get access to people. I needed to have access to information, and I also needed access to rooms. Rooms means that there were meetings that maybe someone at my level should not be. But she would tell me, "Oh, come along, let's go together," and then I'll go there. And she would always ask me, "What do you think?" That sort of thing. Because it did not leave me at the level that I was at. It allowed me to see how people at that level, how they were thinking, what made them take right decisions. And, that influenced me up until now. And it also affected the way that I think and I do things. So that's
Right.
the kind of access that I got.
And I think the one thing I took from everything you said was you had something to offer. If you never had anything to offer, nobody would open any room for you. And so I'm going to flip that and say, how has receiving resources allowed you to pay it forward and give other women?
Fantastic. You know why I like that question, and I can resonate with it very well, because with me, what happened was that during my time in the organization at the time, what happened was you did not have people freely just say, "Oh, you come and take this," and all of that. You had to be the one that was intentional. I recall that one of the speakers earlier, because I joined this from she talked about curiosity. I think it was Shion. She talked about curiosity. I, as an individual, I'm a very curious person. And then to top it up, I'm a product manager, which means that my curiosity is like kind of heightened. So for me, what happened was that out of my curiosity, I realized that earlier on, we did not have rooms like we have now. International Women's Day, you're having Wentors giving people access, you're having Wentors having, this type of event online. Okay, so at that time, the internet was even 2G and it was Edge. So the only kind of meetings you have were practically physical meetings. So there wasn't anything at this level. And that also comes to information sharing as well. So for me, what helped me was I was curious, and because I realized that people did not have those kind of access, especially when it comes to, oh, you want to have an interview done, or you needed, access to certain job opportunities. So I think I looked at where I was coming from, and so I made that available to people. And interestingly enough, up till today, if anybody has an interview, they'll call me. They'll say, "Oh, Lara, I have this interview." They'll send me their interview brief whilst I was in the organization to help them, interpret it. So I'll be the one to say, "Oh, this is what they're actually asking. This is what you need to do." I'll give them the steps, and all of that. And then, because I did not have a lot of people do that for me, so it helped me, to actually do that for other people. And they actually also started paying it forward because I kind of like started it. It wasn't, it was kind of like a chain reaction, because irrespective of your gender, of course, for women, it was easier for me to pull people along. And something that I've also seen that is very important is all you just need to do is have one woman in your team or have one woman anywhere. And trust me, there's a multiplier effect, which means that once there's a woman there, and she does this for one person, that other person will pull another person along. I'm sure you can relate with this in wherever you are at. It just needs you taking one person, and then women just know how to multiply, and that was what I did. So I made those resources available, and because I did that, other people used the resources I made available to other people. In fact, I was doing a professional exam at that time. I was doing CIM. I'll use this as a very good example. And I know that some of my colleagues still have some of the material that I use till now. So all I did was one of my colleagues, and it was because of me, she started CIM in the first place, because of the conversation we had. And then after that, when she got to, I think, level 6, she was having challenges with it. And so I helped her, with the brief of, the questions and, some of the materials of the work. And, it really helped her, and it helped her to pass that stage. And because I had done that for her, she also did the same thing for others that were coming along. So we actually pulled quite a number of people into that professional exam. And a lot of
Amazing.
people attribute that to my influence, and we have
Amazing.
quite a number of people that have done the exam as at today. Thank you.
I love that response. The ripple effect is beyond, and I'm sure it's the same effect that would happen many years to come just from one woman. And Oye, was this the same for you? Let's hear it.
Yeah, it's similar. So for me, the struggles I went through, I didn't want any other person to go through that. So what I did was going as far back as helping girls who are trying to navigate their career paths, who wants to go to STEM, helping them shun their passion, what they are passionate about, their skills, and helping them align with the career paths. And also for women who are already in tech as well, helping them to still understand the path where they are in. Because I had someone who I was able to coach, and she's a software engineer, and at a point she was no longer getting fulfilled in that role. She started developing passion for product management, and in the course of the discussion, I asked and I said, "Do you want to go into product management?" And she said no. She's looking for a way to marry them together, because in the course of you coaching, you happen to find people who are multi-potentialite people, people who have passion, they are passionate about so many things, but they are confused on the area that they need to go to. So by asking questions and both of us working together, we were able to find out that there's a role called developers relation. And this is a role that, with the tech background where she has as a software engineer, she's able to communicate to organization as a product manager. So some organization call it DevRel. So my job there, as whatever lessons I've learned, is to help people instead of struggling in looking for the career path that they need to go to help them to be fulfilled. I'm here standing to mentor, to coach, to see how I can help them so they won't go through the same struggle I went through.
I love what you just shared. And we do have one more question. However, I'm seeing someone say something in the chat, which actually I sort of feel everyone will have a fantastic response to this. And I'm going to ask you, Inye, before I move to Omalara, and that would be the final for us. She says, Olamide says, everyone on the panel has spoken about other women who had helped them grow, which is beautiful to know and hear. But has anyone worked with a toxic woman and how did they navigate that? I know I'm seeing everyone smile. So please, can I
Oh my goodness.
let's start with you, Iye, before we move to Mrs. Amalara. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so that's an interesting question. I don't know about others, but I have worked with a toxic woman, right? Unfortunately, you get to meet people like that in the workplace. I'm used to the working with toxic boss, which happened to be a male, but for me, it was the first time because I believe women should hold each other's hand and pull them up. It was really a very stressful period for me. But however, what I would say is emotional intelligence is really important. And the Bible says wisdom is profitable to direct. I'm a Christian, so I will come from that perspective. In as much as the person could be toxic, I, for one, I try as much as I can to always see opportunities in every challenge, right? It was a very toxic phase for me, but I had to learn what I need to learn in that phase. But even while working with this toxic boss, I was still doing my deliverables, being the best version of myself, not allowing it to get to me. And there is a saying, manage your manager, right? If you have a toxic boss or a toxic manager, and I would say giving you tough time, learn to manage them. And how you're able to manage them is with emotional intelligence. For example, you have a meeting with this manager and you guys discuss this, and that. At the end of that meeting, don't leave that meeting that way. Follow up with an email. Dear so and so, it was an amazing having this meeting with you. In the course of this meeting, we discussed this, we discussed it. This is an action point. Action point from you as a person writing the mail, action point from your manager. Now, what I mean by that is you have evidence. Evidence meaning you have a written documentation, which tomorrow, sometimes if it backfires, like let's say your toxic manager is looking for ways to take you out or looking for ways to implicate you, those documentation stands out for you. And for every project you deliver, document them. Document them in such a way that your manager knows in as much as whether they are like whether they will require from that or not. Document them because it's going to pave way for you. And while you're doing that, there is a limit where you're going to get to. Instead of it affecting your job, I would say be on the lookout. Start looking for roles, right? As you're looking for other roles that are going to perform better, but also be praying about it, because at a point I was praying about it, and my prayer was, God, if this is a storm you want me to go through, you're going to be with me in this storm. Or if is this a storm that you don't want me to be in, you will have to take me out. Eventually, the person had to leave me as not being my manager. So I had opportunity with the senior manager, and he was like, I have one question for you. I've seen your work. What is it that you want me to do? I said, is it possible for me to have a new manager? And he said, granted, right? So he could tell from the way I've been delivering my work, he could tell from the way I do my things, but it didn't come from, like, it didn't just happen in a space of time. I had to walk through it through emotional intelligence. You know, sometimes when you're having a meeting with someone and someone says to you, why don't you talk much? You're like, do you think I'm going to copy your Snapchats? Like, I'm going to, it's become so difficult that for every time they try to push you to the wall, they have nothing to go hold against. But it has to come with emotional intelligence. It is really key. So that would be my take on it.
Oh my goodness. I'm not sure what to say, but I'll just leave. It's so your response is filled with so much wisdom, and I just love it. So thank you for sharing that, especially for those who, well, I don't want to say hopefully it's a toxic manager, but if you do, please, I hope you took notes from everything that Oye had mentioned. Thank you so much for sharing that. Omalara, please, can you go ahead? And that will be the final for us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think Onyinye has said quite a lot. In my own experience, I've experienced top down in terms of toxic managers. I've experienced so the role that I moved into from finance to product management was actually, if I can put it in very nice terms, was running away from a toxic manager. I'm telling you. So when she mentioned it, when she said that, in fact, you can be looking for another role, I'm like, okay, been there, So it's very relatable. I've also worked with people that were my peers, that were women and were toxic. So I've worked with the different levels in terms of being toxic as women. And from what I can say, one thing is for your mental health, depending on the type of personality that you have, if you think that it's affecting you so much, one of the things you can do is to exit. Look for, if your organization has an opportunity for you to move into another role, the best thing for you to do is to move. Toxic people don't see as toxic, right? So what's going to happen is they will be affecting you. So it's best for you to do that. That's one. Another thing you can do for yourself is have an ally. What I mean by an ally is you need to have someone that is on your side, that is neutral. It could be someone higher up, a senior manager, or a director or a general manager, depending. Or look for someone that knows that toxic manager, that they are buddies. If the person, maybe they go home together, or they eat lunch together or something like that. So whatever your challenges are, you can actually use that person as a mediator, or sometimes try to understand what is making that person toxic. So people, they react to different things happening in their lives in different ways. The person that is toxic might be having challenges at home with their husband, They could be having challenges maybe with a child that is in the hospital that you are not aware of. People deal with things in different ways. So what happens is that you might be their landing point. You might be the person that they are taking out aggression on. So it's kind of like for some people, it's transferred aggression. And some people, it might just be their personality. They might not know better. The reason why is because they were trained by a toxic boss. So that toxic attitude or behavior was transferred to them without them knowing. So what happens is that when someone that is your direct report is a toxic manager, when you also become a manager, you are toxic, not because of anything, but because it's by association. So you have to be able to identify what the toxic manager is dealing with. And with that, it gives you enough information to deal with it. That's where the emotional quotient comes in, your EQ or emotional intelligence, depending on whichever one you find yourself in. So in my own case, when I ran from, the other manager. I can't manage somebody that is at that level. You understand?
Right.
I was just doing yes, ma, and doing my work. But it wasn't just me, actually. So it wasn't like she picked me out to be a victim. It was actually the whole team. It was the whole team. It was so bad that people started leaving the team. And then I was number 9. So when we want to joke outside, we'll say, "Oh, what number are you?" It was that bad. So I was like, "Oh, I'm number 9." So number 1 will say, "I'm number 1." Yes, it was that bad. The organization had to look into it after, I think it was after maybe I left or maybe the 10th person left. Something is going on here, So they had to call her in, and all of that. Because when I left my role, I didn't leave to a higher level. It was actually, what do you call it? An horizontal movement. So it wasn't that maybe there was more money where I was. Because when she called me, she told me that why was I leaving and everything like that. And I told her that I left because I wanted to learn new things and broaden my scope, and all of that. And yes, I'll tell you something very interesting. I signed in the bathroom. Yes, I signed my acceptance letter in the bathroom. I did not tell anybody on the team that I was leaving because of her. Because even when I told her, she looked at me and she was like, "Oh, you know that I can affect this movement." And yes, she can. All she needed to do was to make a phone call. Yes, and say that she's not willing to release me for whatever reasons, and then I would not go. That was the level of her toxic behavior. So that's from someone at that level. You understand?
Oh,
So I really don't
wow.
know what her own personal issues were. But I also had a colleague as well that was toxic, and I can't even begin to
Oh,
go into details.
my
But all
goodness.
I can do,
Yeah.
yeah, all I can just say is, like I said, one of the things you need to do is to, if you can identify the root cause, right? If
Yes.
you can run, please, for
Yes.
your
Yes.
mental health, run,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know how much it's going to affect you. Although I dare say that you don't know how much it has affected you until you
Right.
find out that maybe you start to exhibit certain traits. And these traits
Yes.
are not you. It's as a result of, so you don't know better until someone calls your attention to it and then you realize that, oh, really? Was that what I was doing? Oh, I didn't mean it. That's when you find out that it has affected you. So for me, all those things that I've mentioned are things that you should look out for in people, and then it
Mm-hmm.
helps you to deal with it. If you need to move, move. If you find an ally, find an ally. If it means that you have to take it as far as somebody, a husband's best friend, talking to her, that's your staff in the office, they are afraid of you. They are afraid to come to work. There's some people that are so badly behaved, that they put the fear of God in the people that work with them. I've seen it, whereby, some people call it managing perspective. You can't go home until your boss goes home. Who are you to carry your bag at 5 o'clock when madam has not? You understand? And guess what? She will be so terrible that she doesn't have anything she's doing. She's probably playing games on her laptop at 5 o'clock. But because she wants to see who will dare stand up at 5.
Oh
So
my
also
goodness.
also make up your mind, please, on this journey.
Yeah.
As I close, make up your mind not to be that toxic woman.
Yes,
It's easy for us
absolutely.
to cast aspersions to other people. But when you see these fingers, one is pointing back at you. Make sure that you are not that one pointing back at you. You are not that one that people will term outside as being toxic. You won't realize it.
Yes.
Make sure you are
Yeah.
not that person. Learn
Thank
and make sure
you.
that, we're talking about giving to gain. Make sure when you are mentoring people, you also include this as part of what you're teaching them or what they are coaching them, telling them about being a leader or about leading teams. Make sure that, empathy is very important. Think about other people. What are they going through? What are they dealing with? All of these things are part of giving to gain. Today we're talking about this toxic, behavior, but it's very easy for us to talk about it. But we also need to look inwards. That's us checking
Absolutely.
ourselves and
Yes.
making sure that when you leave this type of events, if you're going to live with anything, live with empathy. Live with doing unto others as you want others to do unto you. You don't want to be the toxic manager, please. You won't know until people start talking about you, or they start referring to you on X, or they start referring to you on Instagram or Facebook. Then, you will not know that you are the one. You probably even be joining the comment section
Oh
without
my
knowing it.
goodness.
That's the worst thing that can happen.
I, I,
So,
I honestly, at this point, I honestly wish we had more than enough
thank you so much.
session just for you, ma'am, because this particular session, right, the segment has given us more than enough nuggets, wisdom that every woman needs. I wish I could start, picking from here and there, but for everyone, and especially Olamide, I think it was Olamide who asked that question. Thank you so much for asking that question. It's so relevant to our time, to who we are, and especially to where we're going to as women in technology, right? So thank you so much, Mrs. Amalara. It's such an honor to always have you. Thank you for your huge support. Thank you, Oyinye. I love,
Thank
love,
you.
love to follow you, especially the work that you do on LinkedIn. Please follow these women. They're just a wealth of knowledge, wealth of experience, and they are mentors in our community. They started, I think, as far back as 2023, 2022. They're about up until now. So thank you so much for giving us your time today. It's such an honor to have you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you too. It's been amazing having you and well done on the
Thank
awesome
you.
work that you're doing, Dorothy and Edwapasi. Thank
Thank
you, and
you.
Unoma as well. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Ma. All right. We're gonna hand over real quick for our closing keynote. Unawa, do you want to take that on? Okay. I think Unoma may be having. Hi,
I'm
Unoma. Okay.
here. Can
Yeah,
you
go
guys?
ahead, please. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you, Winnie. Thank you, Omolara, for a fantastic panel session. And it's time for our closing keynote with Oyin Shodabor. Is Oyin here, please?
I am. Hi, Noma.
Hi, good to see you again. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So for everyone who doesn't know who Oyin is, let me permit myself to call Oyin a powerhouse, a venture builder, operator, board director, driving growth and intersection of capital, governance, and innovation in Africa. She's had roles with Cascador, C1 Ventures, Techstars, Ventures 54, and lots of other VC companies because she is passionate in ensuring that startup companies, especially female-led startup companies, have the funding that they need to succeed in their vision. So Oyin is here to close out with us on the truth, insights, and the call to action for every woman on this call. So welcome, Oyin. Good to see you again.
See you.
Fantastic. So let's drive right in, okay, to the crux of the issue, right? I'm aware that Africa receives less than 2% of global venture funding. And you can imagine how much gets to women founders.
Mm-hmm.
So from your seat as an investor, what would you say to women in this room who are building businesses but struggling to access capital? What do investors actually want from these companies?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you very much for the question. And yes, absolutely, I am very passionate about making sure that women are well represented. And in fact, in the companies that I've invested in, over half of them have had women in the leadership teams. So kind of breaking the mold, including Unoma, by the way. Anyway, so as to the question, let me start by being super plain. I mean, Unoma mentioned the data there. It is harder for women. I have sat on an investment committee where a man came in and the questions were kind of around him, whereas the woman came in and the questions were a lot more challenging and a lot more different. So I would say I have experienced firsthand that there is a difference in how men and women are treated and the bar that is set. But at the same time, there are so many African focused funds that have women in leadership and women in those key decision making roles. And representation is really important. It doesn't solve everything, but I do believe that it reduces the chances of women who are awesome being overlooked. But for those that are genuinely finding it difficult, there are a few things that we can control. So, and that I think speaks to us asking ourselves the right question. And question number one we have to ask ourselves as female founders is, are we building venture backable businesses or are we building SMEs? Because honestly speaking, I do see that women are more likely to be leading SMEs or perhaps asset heavy businesses. And these just aren't businesses that typical VCs are looking at. So we need to be really honest about the
Yeah, I can't hear you,
Someone
but
muted me.
my network. Oh, I'm sorry about. Continue. I
Are
thought
you hearing me?
I can hear you now. Go
Okay,
ahead.
all right. Thanks for muting. Yeah, the second question we have to ask ourselves is, what does our team look like? So investors, when they're investing in VC backable businesses, are looking that the core leadership team includes someone that's highly technical. And we are still in a position where women are less likely to have that technical expertise. So if you're a female founder that is not technical, you need to make sure that you have a technical person on your team so that that investor has no excuse. The third thing that we need to ask ourselves is, what networks are we in? And I love what you guys are doing here because you're creating a network so we don't have that excuse. But I speak to women all the time where I say, why haven't you applied for this thing? And they tell me, oh, I just haven't heard of it. And I'm like, if you haven't heard of it, you're not in the right networks, you're not having the right conversations. So making sure that you're in the right spaces to hear about the opportunities for funding is super, super important. Also remember that a lot of capital access is driven by referrals. It's driven by warm introductions. So making sure that you've got people in your network that can give you the referrals, that can speak positively of you when you're not in the room is also really important. And you also just have to ask yourself the question of, are you showing up and are you bringing others with you? So I get invited to panels all the time where I say, there aren't enough women on this panel. Why not? And they say to me, they asked so-and-so women and they said no. And they tell me that women are more likely to say, no, I'm not ready for something. Than a man is. I've also found that when I speak to founders, a woman is more likely to have a solid business, solid traction, and not apply for funding because she thinks she's not ready. Whereas a man will come with a piece of paper and a bit of entitlement and tell me he is ready. So as women, we have to push ourselves forward even when we think we're not ready, because more likely than not, we're probably more ready than the male counterpart. So yes, it's harder, but I think those are tangible things that we can do to increase our odds. And the second question was, what are investors looking for? So at the end of the day, regardless if you're a male founder or a female founder, they're looking for the same core things. So the first thing is that core team that I've spoken of. So again, if you are a non-technical female founder, make sure you've got a technical, that preferably co-founder on your team, so that you have got the technical expertise plus the commercial plus the industry expertise on that team. The second thing that investors are looking for is a large and a real market. And this really speaks to the question of, are you building a VC backable business? So you've got to remember that VC investors want a 10x return, right? They want to know that you're building the kind of business that can exit at some point, the kind of business that another business is going to want to buy, or other investors are going to want to buy secondary shares in the future. So it's really important that you're building in a big, large market if you are trying to attract VC funding. The third thing they're looking for is a defensible product. And by that, I mean you're building something where no one else can just pick up your deck and replicate it. So you need to make sure that you're building a really strong moat around your business. And that moat can look like IP, it can look like network effects, it could look like brand, it could look like team, but make sure you've got something that means that someone else can't pick up your deck and replicate what you're doing. And the last thing they're looking for, which is really important because it can't be disputed, is traction. So they're looking for you showing evidence that you've got revenues, customers, that your numbers are increasing, your customers are staying with you. When you've got these numbers, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, it's indisputable. So yeah, so I hope those answer your questions, Anoma.
They do, and they answer them perfectly. Thank you so much, Oyin. You really broke it down. And I'm hoping people are taking notes because I'm taking notes as a founder. But if you could just leave one sound bite for aspiring women from everything you've said, what would be that sound bite? What would be that one key piece of advice?
From everything I've said, I've touched upon it, but I haven't really focused on it. But the one soundbite I would say to you all is surrounding yourself with people that back you. And I love a couple of the anecdotes that I've just heard from the previous speakers because I completely support what they've said. So you need to surround yourself with friends that are going to back you. So for me, for example, I think one of the previous speakers said this. When I joined Techstars as managing director, the person that showed me a role was a female friend. And she saw the role. She said, "Oi, you are perfect for this." I looked at the role thinking, I don't understand why I'm perfect for this. And she convinced me to apply. So you've got to surround yourself by good people that believe in you, that see you, that don't doubt you when you doubt yourself, so they can push you forward when you have the issues yourself. So that's the first thing, like surround yourself with great friends. Secondly, when it comes to like surrounding yourself, and this is like, I think this is a closed circle, but I'm going to be really real here. You have to choose your life partner well. So some people will choose never to get married or whatever, or never have a partner. But for those of you that want to have a life partner, you have to choose that life partner well, because I genuinely believe that the right partner can either lift you up or completely break you down. Again, if I speak of, my partner, when I got the role at Techstars, I almost said no because it required me moving from the UK to Nigeria when we had just gotten engaged. And I will tell you, so many men would have said, no, you can't do that. You're going to be so far away from me. But my husband said, this job is perfect for you. You're going, we'll make it work. So you need to choose your life partner well. And you also need to surround yourself with good business people. Like, again, like I have had so many people around me that have been my ebons. They've been my big brothers, my big sisters. They have mentored me. They have coached me. They have opened up doors for me. So yeah, I summarize everything by saying just pick your circle really, really well.
Thank you so much. I don't know, something about everything you just said just makes me feel good. I feel like I am surrounded with people. Everything was just hitting notes. I was like, yes, yes, yes. And this is probably why I'm able to do what I'm able to do. And I'm sure Edu kind of resonate. Dorothy has been hearting since you've been talking. So yes, you are hitting the right notes and we are taking it in. Thank you so much for that.
And can I say something else actually, based on an example with you, Anoma, and other female founders that I've seen, your co-founders have to back you as well. So the most powerful female founders I have worked with, when I look at their teams, their male co-founders typically push them forward as well. So yeah, if you are in a team and the people in your team, especially your male co-founders, are not promoting you, they're not saying you go and speak at that event, you go and do this, you're not around the right people.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Thank you. Thank you for making that point. So we've run out of time. I had a lot more questions for you. I want to round this up real quickly, right? So what's the one thing you wish someone had done for you earlier in your career that you feel will have accelerated your trajectory?
Oh, I don't think there's one thing that someone else hasn't done. I think the one thing that I didn't do enough is asking for people for help. genuinely speaking, I think there was probably a 8-year period in my career where for some reason I stopped asking for help. I think I felt like um I had imposter syndrome, so I thought maybe people won't help me. I didn't think I was ready to ask for help, which is counterintuitive because you're always ready to ask for help. And it was only when I got the Techstars role that I realized I'm about to jump into something that I felt unprepared for. So I just surrounded myself with mentors and coaches and big brothers, big sisters. So yeah, I wish that I had understood the value of network earlier on. And now, even though I'm, much more senior in my career, I have mentors and I have a circle of people that are older than me that I will continue to go to when I have questions. So yeah, that would be what I'd wish I'd done for myself.
Thank you so much. I wish I could. Let's take one question from Unity. I know we are way over time, guys. I apologize for everyone and thank you for staying. Someone Izuchuku is asking that she's hoping for a recommendation of books that can help future aspiring founders to know what it is, blueprint of what investors look like. Are there any books you recommend?
Oh, Blueprint. For what investors look at. I can't remember what it's called, but it's Tommy Davis's book. Um, so yeah, Tommy Tomi Davis, his book just breaks down how to build your business and how to make sure that you've got your product set, your team set, etc. So that's the one I would recommend.
Tomi Davis. Okay.
Yeah.
I will look it up and I will put it in the community in our WhatsApp group. So guys, if Izuchuku especially, reach out to us on WhatsApp and I'll give you the link to the book. So thank you so much, Oyin, for having us. And thank you, everyone. Dora, over to you. Let's round this up and let's have a great weekend. It's been a wonderful day with friends, with women who have, suffered and are growing together. And I'm glad that we have each other. So over to you, Dora.
Absolutely. So here's the final segment. Edu will handle this. We have a few gifts that we want to share with some of the women in this group. Like Edu had mentioned, now this is just for women who participated in this program. So we're going to be doing this by having you take the QR code. You need to scan it, or we will be sharing with you the link for this particular program. So first, let me do it this way. Okay. All right. So if you can, go ahead and um, take this link, scan the link. This is the opportunity. I'm being quiet about this because we're trying to make sure that it's not everyone, although we know it's everyone. Well, there will be some involved.
Let's just transparently say how it's going to work, right? It's the first
Okay.
20 people that fill in the registration. So we have 20 internship opportunity open. And so if you're willing to just dive into an internship opportunity, scan the QR code, fill in the form, it's just the first 20 people will be contacted. You are in, and we would get communication to you when the internship is going to start and how the internship would look like. There, someone is saying, please share the link here. There's a QR code on the screen.
I'll be nice to share the link, but
Okay.
I won't share
Okay.
it again. Yes, I promise. To
There's
be
a
very
QR
polite.
code on the screen. So we're going to give it 1 minute. Dara, do you want to start counting down 60 seconds? All the
I will
minimum
definitely
1 minute.
count. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and put my timer.
So just
Let's do
go ahead
60
and fill
seconds.
in. But I think ultimately, while we leave that running for 1 minute, we've had an amazing session. Like every woman that has been part of this program, and even the men that spoke, they had literally spoken from a place of experience. They've poured in. Oh my God, the panel sessions were really, really wonderful. Both panel sessions, the closing remark, Oye started out on a very strong note, and even our sponsor Tenable. So it's been a packed session. If there's anything that you take away, there's loads of learning from what we've had today. But I think something to take away is we need to actively put ourselves in opportunity to give back, pay it forward. So today you're listening in. If you don't remember anything, remember Katharina, who was once in your place and now she was paying it forward to over 100 people on the call and still actively mentoring. So whether you pay it forward through Wentors, it doesn't have to be through Wentors. It could be to that young girl on the streets, in the streets, your neighbor. It could be the young person at work But there's so many, there are loads of learning. There are loads of learning. I can't begin to talk about them. When you're actively taking it in with your toxic manager and not knowing that that's what you're going to become. And if you're not watching it, then in a few years when you become a manager, you're now the toxic boss. But there's been loads of learning from everyone that has poured in, and I hope this was worth your time. Thank you. I think we're completely 30 minutes over. We still have really strong attendance. But thank you, thank you, everyone. This how we tell ourselves we did it well. This how we know that the session was impactful. You guys are still staying until this time. Thank you, and we don't take your time for granted. You would get. I think you get. Did they get a recording, Dora?
Yes, they will definitely get the
Okay.
recording. It should go out by weekend.
Okay.
I see that we had posted something. She shared she's looking for female founders to join the Cascado program for growth stage businesses. We invest $2 to $5 million annually to alumni. If that's you, please register your interest here. So here's the good thing about Wentors is that we go out to look for the best quality, and this is part of it. And thank you so much, Oyi, for sharing this with us. It's such an amazing opportunity. If you're a woman out there who is looking for, who is into any business, startup business, growth stage business, please take this link immediately. We're not going to share this again. No, we want to do this just for women who are part of this program. Same also for the internship opportunity. So yeah, the results are coming in, and I just want to announce real quick that for those who have put in their information, we're gonna choose the first 20 based on, a lot of categories or factors, but the best 20 would be announced on Monday. So please stay tuned to our social media platforms. We're going to go source for your names, your images, and all of that. And so that's it from me. Edu, Oma?
Pretty much that's all from me. Do have a beautiful weekend. Think through every conversation that we've had today. I think it's been a fire pack. I personally have taken loads of notes, and I'm also going to be looking at it through the weekend. And I hope this was worthwhile for every one of you. Feel free to join our community. There's a WhatsApp group. For all those that got into the data camp program, I could see you guys already buzzing on the chat. Congratulations and welcome. It's going to be an amazing 1 year ride with Anita. But yeah, to those who have gotten in, welcome. If you're still waiting for the email, Anita has sent you guys a gift while we were on the call. So check your email and just stay glued. Stay glued. We still have loads of other things coming up. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and do have an amazing weekend. That's all from me.
Uh,
Same, same, same. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for
Can we
joining us.
all take a picture real quick? Can everybody
We forget that.
just quickly show me your pretty faces? Let's take a picture real quick, everyone. Thank you so much. Everybody's coming in looking all pretty. Hi. Hello. Oh, pretty, pretty, pretty.
Anita, you're pinned on the chart. Do you want to unpin yourself first so that we
Am
can?
I? Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. We love your pretty face.
Thank Please give me a minute to
Okay.
unpin myself. Heidi, can you help me?
you're not actually pinned.
Because I'm seeing everyone from my end.
Aren't
Yeah,
aren't
I'm
you're
not
not
seeing.
pinned.
you're not
Yes.
Okay. Let's go for it.
Hi.
Oh, so let me capture. Everybody say cheese. All right, I'm doing another one. Please say cheese again. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have an amazing
Bye.
weekend.
Have
Bye.
an amazing weekend. Bye.
Do you?
Bye.